Hey everyone, Tony Winston here for Jazz Piano College. Going to work on reharmonization today. And the main song I'm going to focus on here is Autumn Leaves. Also cover a little bit of Fly Me to Your Room and Do Nothing Till You Hear From Me and Do You Know What It Means to Miss New Orleans. And I'm using these songs because I'm going to try to demonstrate all these various ways of reharmonizing a song. And a lot of this comes from Berklee College of Music. So let me play a little bit first. All right, having a little fun with that. Now I've sketched out a lot of this actually on some staff paper. All right, so let's take a look at Autumn Leaves first. All right, and we're moving to a D7. All right, now a kind of a shortcut. It's really using two rules at once to put an E flat seventh first, and then the D7. And then once again, we're going to C, so I'm going to put a dominant chord here, and then into C. And let's see, we've got... All right, so what I'm doing is basically taking every chord and putting like a half step above a dominant chord. Now going to G, so A flat. Going to C, so D flat. All right, this one I'm not going to do that. So F sharp, minor 7 flat 5. Going to B, so C first. Now, there's actually two parts of this reharmonization at work there. I will explain the science behind this at the end of the video. But just be aware that that's something you can do, and you can do it in songs like Fly Me to Your Room. See, I was going to D minor, so E flat first. And notice, these things are mostly tritones too. But it's more than just tritone substitution. There's something else involved. Now I'm going to G, so A flat first. Going to C, so D flat first. Going to F, so F sharp first. And I didn't do anything there, but I will here. Going to E, and going to A minor. All right. So like I say, there's two rules kind of being combined into one on some of those changes. But, you know, when you're, I don't know, improvising and doing some reharm, you're actually improvising some reharmonization. You know, you don't really go through all the scientific steps to get from one place to another. You know, you use shortcuts. It's, you know, very similar to, you know, science or math or something like that, you know. When you do, you know, a simple mathematical calculation, you don't always go through all the, you know, postulates and axioms and all that kind of stuff just to get to your answer. You just do a routine. You follow a procedure. And that's what we're doing here. We're following a procedure. We're just going a half step above and then down into the chord. Now let me go down the sheet here and talk about all these different techniques for reharmonization. And I have been putting my videos into playlists. So if there's a link down there in the description, if you go to that link, you'll see all the playlists. And if you're interested in reharmonization, there is a playlist for that. And there's probably 4 or 5 videos, maybe more, that cover reharmonization. I did one years ago on Over the Rainbow that I think I was able to use every one of these rules in that song. So please check out the playlists. Now, I'll just go down the list here. Dominant motion. You just have to kind of understand dominant motion. Anytime you're going from G to C, or from C7 to F, or F7 to B flat, this is just going through the cycle of fifths. So just about any chord, just take a chord out of the blue, E flat major. Before that chord, you can have its 5 chord, the B flat, that leads into it. So just about any chord you can put a 5 chord in front of. You can try it out anyway. It doesn't mean it's always going to work. And letter B here is something I don't think about all that much, but a 5/7 or a dominant 7th chord. We're talking about the same thing. When you say a 5 chord, you can mean any dominant chord really. So a dominant 7th can move to a C major. It can move to C minor. Or it can move to another dominant chord. Okay? All right. Any 5 chord can be preceded. This is letter C. Any 5 chord can be preceded by its relative minor 2 chord. Do you know what it means to miss New Orleans? It starts off. All right. So I went from the 1 chord to the 5 chord. Kind of an augmented 5 chord. So I could have put a 2 in front of that, and a 2 would be the D minor. So see? There's the 2 chord. It's kind of a nice one too, because it's a minor 7th with a 13 because of the melody note. So it has a slightly dissonant sound, but I like it. Then go to the dominant, and back to the 1. Okay? Letter C is really the first kind of rule. The A and B are just talking kind of general terms here. Any chord can follow a 1 chord. All right? Again, the same song. You got the 5 chord. You come down here to the 1 chord again. And the chart says A minor. But I could pick like any chord to play there, as long as it sounds good with the melody note. So I went to a dominant 4 chord. That's a pretty common progression to go from a 1 chord to a 4 chord and have it be a dominant, or could be a minor or something. But that's a typical progression. So I'm not trying to be too weird here, but you could do something like. See, that chord sounds okay, but where are you going to go with that? You might find a place, but I've heard some reharmonizations that change the song so much that you might as well just write a new song. It doesn't sound anything like the old song. Next one. Any 5/7 chord can be substituted by another 5/7 chord a tritone away. All right, that's just basic tritone substitution. If you're going from D to G to C, just go down a half step here to D flat. All right, it's a tritone away from the G. You see, either one sounds good. In fact, if you're using rootless voicings, it's up to the bass player. The bass player can go D, G, C, or D, D flat, use the same chord, and C. You see? Same kind of thing. All right, that's just basic tritone substitution. Here's a good one. Any flat 7 dominant chord may be substituted for the 4 minor. All right, I'll tell you, music theory is like, hey, how do you do something simple and try to make it so complicated nobody can understand it? All right, do nothing till you hear from me is a good place to demonstrate that. Look at the chart here. Got G major 7th and D minor. All right, and here it says go to C minor 6th. Okay, so this is the 4 chord, like we were talking about, and it goes to C minor 6. All right, so that is a minor 4 chord. You know, it could have been a minor 7th, minor 6th, any kind of a minor chord. And it says instead of that, use the flat 7 chord. All right, so what's the flat 7 chord? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You've got to use the scale, you know. All right, so the flat 7 chord is an F. All right. So it says you can use an F dominant chord instead of the C minor chord. Let's try it out. All right, here's my 4 chord as a major, but here the minor one, I'm supposed to go to F. All right, well, so that works beautifully. And in fact, you know, you can kind of combine it. You can play the C minor first, and then go to the F. Well, C minor 6, sorry. And you can see, like, a C minor 6, if you put an F below it, it really is the F7 anyway. Or it could be thought of that way anyhow. Okay, let's see, what's the next one here? A 3 may be substituted for a 1. Well, let's try it out in New Orleans. Yeah, see, I put the E minor there instead of C. And of course, you can see E minor 7th can be very much like a C major, right? If this is the 1 chord, 3 chord works pretty well. And if you're going 1, 6, 2, 5, 1, 6, 2, 5, 3, 6, 2, 5, 3, 6, with the tritone substitution, 2, 5, with another tritone substitution. All right, that's an example of that, but you could probably find other ones. Number H, any minor 7, you know, when you see that 2 there, it's like a minor 7 chord, like a D minor in the key of C, may be substituted with the 5 built on the same root. All right, now this is kind of like what I call just changing the quality of a chord. Like, let's see, let's go back to Autumn Leaves here for a second. All right, so I've already changed the quality. I put in an 11th like that because my big fat thumb hit both those notes. So, but you know, I could change it to a dominant chord, and that's what they're saying to do here. All right, so it comes out, it's pretty bad sounding because, you know, it comes out as a sharp 9 chord. But, you know, a better example would probably be in the blues. You know, if you're doing a blues, then you go to the 4 chord. Is this the worst blues you've ever heard? And then D minor, that's the 2 chord. We're going to change it to a dominant chord. So, all right. This is kind of an odd one, a number I. It says a flat 5 minor 7 flat 5. Okay, that's enough to just take, you know, what I got now, 28,000 subscribers. Okay, just hearing that is enough to send 26,000 of them right out the door here, if they've even gotten this far. So, you know, like I say, this is just, sometimes I think they make it complicated like this to intimidate you. But this, you know, this is a rigorous study of what's going on here. So best place I can think of is Somewhere Over the Rainbow. So what do you expect right here? C major again? See, I played, instead of C, I want a tritone. Now this is not tritone substitution, this is something else. We have a one chord, typically a major, but it could be something else. But I think this works best for the major chord. So instead of playing C major as the root chord, try a tritone away, a minor 7 flat 5. That's all it's telling you to do. And look, it's still got part of like a C6 chord there. You're just throwing this in. Now that's all the rules, but I've added a few more and just kind of combined a few to make shortcuts. This next big table under J is just showing you that, if you're driving towards, a 1 chord, there's 4 different ways to get there. You can do a 2-5-1. You can do the tritone substitution. Okay. You can, using the tritone substitution, precede it with its 2. That's back up there in, I don't know, what is it, letter C, I guess. So you go A flat to D to C. Or you could go A flat to G to C. 4 ways. And, that it follows the rules, basically. All right, now I've gone on past J, and I put down K, and it says, in a 2-5-1, I got this from Peter Martin, who, by the way, sent me this shirt. And, I really want to thank him and Adam for doing that. I appreciate it. I sent him $30, but, they still sent me the shirt, so thank you. If you're doing a 2-5-1, instead of the 5, you can do the 7 and make it a dominant. So like, all right. Now this is kind of like, you could almost look at that as a G chord, G augmented. So, but it's just something to keep in mind, and it's reharm. It works well. Now L is a combination of 2 things, H and E. And this is the explanation behind "Fly Me to Your Room." See, I changed it. I changed the 2 to a dominant. Okay, that's rule H. And then I did tritone substitution. So here's the dominant, but I'm going to do tritone substitution, and I get that. Okay. Now I changed that one to a dominant, but I didn't play it as a D7. I did the tritone substitution. And that one, since it's already a dominant chord, it's just tritone substitution to get to here. All right? And I don't think I've ever gone through all those mental steps in my mind to do that kind of thing. I just do the shortcut. No, M, okay, letter M here is the thing I demonstrated in Have You Met Miss Jones? Now, basically, I could explain this, following just these rules. It seems like, well, this is something different. How do you square that? But think of the simple harmony. G minor to C. All right, let's change that G to a G7th. And let's do the tritone substitution. So now we have D flat 7th to C. All right. D flat 7th, dominant, to C dominant. And remember, any dominant chord can be preceded by its 2. So 2-5, 2-5. That's how you get that. All right? And once again, you probably don't go through all those steps mentally while you're doing this kind of thing. Okay, another thing you can do is pedal point. All right, I love pedal point. So in the bridge of Autumn Leaves, let's see, how's that go? All right, so you can do a pedal point on B. So we got the 2 chord, and then the 5 chord, there it is. And then the 1 chord, we're still on it. And then we move it down like that. Now I came up with some interesting things, you know. Suppose instead of this pedal point, use that one instead. So I'm messing around with root movement here. Now some real books have it like this. But you can go this way. See, anytime you're moving down chromatically like this, and you've got lots of seventh chords or minor seventh chords in between them, like this. That's a minor, here's a dominant, here's a minor, here's a dominant. That's the same as the cycle of fifths. You can just go this way. But you'll sometimes find more interesting stuff going this way. And another thing too, here it is in the real book. I'm not sure what yours says. Some of them say C major seventh. Some of them say C dominant seventh. Some of them say F sharp minor 7 flat 5. But you can change the quality of a chord. If it says major seventh, try a dominant seventh, and vice versa. One other little reharm trick that works pretty well is a thing called constant structure. And let me demonstrate this on, I could write a book. Now, I'm just going to follow the melody using the so what chord. I'm going to use the exact same voicing. And that takes me right back. Well, it doesn't exactly take me back to C, but I made it go to C. Now, there was some more constant structure. I didn't have a melody to harmonize there, but I just took the same chord. It's like a major seventh with a Lydian sharp 4 in it or something. So anyway, okay, that's all for now. I'm going to post links down in the description. That'll take you to the lead sheets for these songs that we used, and also the sheet that has the guidelines for reharmonization. And also there's a link to all the playlists. I'm going to be doing some more videos on this topic, so look for the playlist that says reharmonization or jazz reharmonization. And I'll be staying on this topic for another video or two and using some of these techniques. All right, thanks very much, and see you again soon.